You can never awaken using the same system that put you to sleep in the first place. These are the words of the late 19th century, early 20th century teacher, writer, philosopher known as Gurdjieff. Why do we want to wake up? What does it mean to wake up? Is it even possible to wake up? What are we waking up from? We have this comfortable reality. Sure, some days it gives us a little bit of fits and tries our patience. We're driving to work and we get stuck in traffic. We get cut off and it raises our blood pressure. Or we're interacting with our husband or our wife or significant other and we don't see eye to eye. Or we turn on the news and we hear things that get us upset about what's going on in the world or in our city or in our backyard or our own country. Or maybe our family members are giving us fits, our children, our parents, what have you. But most of the time, it's pretty comfortable. We establish a routine, we go to work, we run a business, whatever we do that we think we're being productive, we pay our bills, we think about saving money, we put away money for our children's education, maybe we want to buy a new home, maybe we want to make additions to that home, maybe we want to buy a new automobile or take a vacation or save for Christmas or holidays or other gifts for other people. We come home, we have nice dinner, we talk to our family members. We do these things day in, day out. It establishes kind of a nice, comfortable routine. What is there to awaken from? This sounds perfectly normal, perfectly okay, doesn't it? Well, maybe there's a lot more going on out there than we realize. I remember this movie that was in the late 70s, I believe, and it was called Diner. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie. It's kind of old now, but it had some pretty interesting characters in it. Mickey Rourke was in it. Young Ellen Barkin was in it, and a few other people that you would recognize as actors who went on to have big careers. Anyway, what the root of this story is that these four guys who often got together and they were like fresh out of high school, and you could see that they had had a friendship all through high school, and they got together, they'd go out on the weekends and party, maybe they'd drink some alcohol and try and hook up with some young ladies. And then at the end of the evening, they'd all meet at this diner. And at the diner, they'd talk about what took place during the evening for each of them, what they planned to do for the next week. They'd order some food and share food together and stories and laughter. And it went on like this for a while. And then this one particular night passed, and there were four of them there. And at the end of the night, there were just two of them. And they decided to ride home together. So they got in the car and they started driving. And I think this is somewhere in Virginia or Maryland. And these are working class guys. They're trying to find their way in the world. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives, how they're going to make money. They have all these grandiose ideas about what they could do or can't do in the future. And they're driving along and they wander into this area that's kind of out of their economic realm. And in the early morning light, they look over and there's this beautiful green pasture with white painted fence, split rail fence going all around. And off in the distance, they see this very attractive young woman riding a beautiful horse, English style. She's got the long boots on and she's got the proper, posture. She's sitting high in her seat and seems to be in rhythm with the horse. And they watch for a moment without saying anything. And it's a beautiful scene. They're driving along in their car and this beautiful young lady is riding along on this majestic horse, and they seem to be in unison. And one of the driver looks over at the passenger and he says, "Do you ever get the idea that there's something else going on that we don't know about?" It's kind of a focal moment in the movie. And the rest of the movie is about things that are going on in life around them that they don't have any insight about and that they're trying to learn about. And our lives, all of our lives are kind of like that. Doesn't matter, what economic group you were born into, what culture, what religion. We're all dealing with things in our lives that we're learning about. Sometimes we learn about things in our own family, in the lives of our own family, in those cultures. And other times we're trying to figure out what's going on with other people. What's going on with other people who are speaking a different language or worship a different God and religion or have different economic backgrounds, people that are wealthy, people that are poor, people that are in other countries. But it goes far beyond that. We're all kind of searching for something, asking questions all the time. And oftentimes, in previous podcasts and in this one, I'm talking about how you need to wake up. You need to find out what reality is about. It's not about what you think it's about. And I know everybody has a very, very short attention span and growing shorter all the time because of social media and how things are accelerating in our lives. It seems like we don't have time. Why listen to this? Why do we have to worry about waking up or whatever that means? What is it? I'm busy. I've got to pay my bills. I've got a mortgage that I have to worry about. I have children's education. We have to put food on the table. Everything is going up in price. The cost of gasoline, the cost of energy, the cost of everything in our lives. Food costs are going up. Transportation costs. My mortgage rates are going up. Everything costs more today than it did yesterday and the day before, and it's likely to continue that way. So I have to pay attention to how I'm going to run my business and get more profit and more success, or if I'm working for a company or a corporation, how I'm going to do the job and move up in the ranks and get a raise and have a larger salary and put away more money through my 401k or my IRA accounts. These are the things that are important. Why should I worry about awakening? Well, I've said this before. Making money is kind of like a parlor trick. And I also said it's a misnomer. There's nothing to be made. All the money's been made. There are literally oceans of money out there flowing all around you all the time. It's as if you're out in a rainstorm and you're trying to collect rainwater, but you've got your bucket turned upside down. If the bucket's upside down, it doesn't matter how hard it rains, you're not going to collect any rainwater. And if there's oceans of money flowing all around you, but you don't do anything to direct it to you, you're constantly going to be in need and in search of money. And you think you're making it. You're exchanging your time and your effort and your energy for some dollars. But you're really just a slave. You're acting like a slave. You're selling your labor to someone else who's benefiting more for a few dollars so that you can have the few comforts that you have and so that you can manage the responsibilities that you think are paramount in your life. Well, the reason why you should awaken, the reason why you need to expand your horizons, to remember who you are, to gain more power, to gain more control, which is already yours. It's already inside you. You have the ability to do everything. The reason you need to do that is that it will make all of the other things that concern you today so much easier to handle. You won't have to worry about it. Remember in the Bible the story of Solomon? So Solomon was the wisest king, and he was also the wealthiest king. He was adorned like no other king in the Bible. And Solomon was a righteous man. He was the son of David. He built the temple of Solomon. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. But he built this temple of Solomon to where God could reside. And God said to Solomon one day, you know, Solomon, you've been such a worthy person. You do everything right. You're always looking to do the right thing. I want to reward you. I'll give you anything that you ask for. Please, just ask for it and it's yours. And Solomon thought for a moment, and then he said, God, make me the wisest man so that I can rule your people wisely and have judgment that will be fair for everyone concerned. And God said, Solomon, because I told you I would give you anything, and you asked for wisdom only so that you could use it to rule my people with fair judgment, I'm going to give you that wisdom, but I'm going to give you everything else that goes along with it. And never was there a king before or after that was more beautifully and royally adorned than Solomon. This is a metaphor. You know, was it a reality? Well, I can't say one way or the other, but as a metaphor, it worked perfectly. And this is why I'm telling you, you need to awaken, you need to acquire the knowledge of the divinity that lives inside you, the power that you have to be this incredible being. We are all the same. We all have this divinity within us. We are, you know, on a quantum level, we are the same thing that all the stars are made of. We are literally composed of stardust. We are the same as the cosmological celestial spheres that we see above us every night. If you go outside and you look up into the sky, it's countless. And think about that. The stars are like the cells in your body. They are the cells of the universe, and the planets and the vacuoles and all of the, you know, all of the heavenly celestial bodies are corresponding to all of the things that are inside us. You know, it's been said that if you look inside a cell, if you could see the distance between the electrons that are floating around and the nucleus where the atoms are all, that we are mostly space. We are mostly empty space. And yet we have these organs and these vessels inside of us and tissues and blood flowing through us all the time. Just like when we look up in the sky, there's all kinds of activity. There are galaxies and there are, you know, different celestial bodies that we're only now discovering. I can't speak on these cosmological events because I'm not a student of astronomy. I've only been able to see photographs from the Hubble telescope and other telescopes out there. I haven't spent years studying them. I'm not intimate with the language of cosmology, but I know that what is above is below. What's outside is inside. I know that like Mandelbrot, who came up with the idea of fractals, and what is a fractal again? Fractal is a repeating pattern in nature. When you throw a pebble into a still pond of water, it radiates outward. It creates these circles of vibrations and radiations that are visible to you. And if you go up in space and you can look back down at the earth and you can see a hurricane, you'll see in that hurricane the eye is like the pebble hitting the water, and then it expands outward with these energy bands that look very similar to throwing a pebble into a still pond. That's a fractal. The fractal there is repeated from the still pond and the pebble thrown in it to the hurricane that you can see from above. And we see these fractals all the time. They're repeated in nature. And everything in our lives are repeated again and again. Sometimes it's because they are lessons that we need to learn. Sometimes they are analogous to other people's lives. Sometimes we can see in history how fractals have taken place in history. I don't want to go into fractals so much today, as I want you to understand a few things. I was reading Gurdjieff over this weekend. It's not an easy read. He's written many books. He's very complex, and I don't think it's because he's trying to be obtuse or arcane or difficult to understand. I just think the things that he's speaking about are a little bit foreign to us. He uses a couple metaphors that I kind of like. He says that picture a carriage, and the carriage is drawn by a horse, and the horse and the carriage have to have a driver to direct it, and the horse and the carriage and the driver have a master. And this is very much like each of us. The carriage is our physical body. The horse is our sense of emotions and feelings. The driver is our mind and our intellect and our thought process. And where's the master? The master's out there. We haven't identified him yet. He also goes on to say that this metaphor is like what's used in all of the major religions. When he's talking about major religions, he's talking about Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism. He's talking about all these religions see man as 4 rooms. And those 4 rooms, in the 4 rooms, man is navigating through those 4 rooms all the time. And the idea is to build and furnish all of those 4 rooms so the master will return. Interesting, I said when I was talking about Solomon's Temple before that I would come back to it. I'm going to use another movie analogy. Maybe many of you have seen Field of Dreams. I'm a baseball fan myself and thought this was a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie to watch, even if you're not a baseball fan. The premise of the movie is Kevin Costner is the star of the movie, and he gets messages from above and from the distant past and voices, and the voice is telling him he owns a farm in Iowa, and the farm is going bankrupt, and he has cornfields, but he can't pay the mortgages, and there are people at the bank who want him to sell. They will give him a good price for the property, but he doesn't want to sell. And he's sitting outside one day contemplating what to do, and he hears these voices tell him, if you build it, they will come. He doesn't know what that is at first. If you build it, they will come. Anyway, throughout the course of the movie, he takes some twists and turns. He goes and visits people like James Earl Jones, who plays a part in this. He's a sports writer from the past. And he decides that what he's supposed to do is to cut down a portion of the cornfield and build a baseball field. And in this baseball field, he doesn't know why he's doing it, but the voice says, if you build it, they will come. And eventually he builds this baseball field, and the bank is on his case. You know, they're about to repossess it. If he doesn't sell to the bank, they're going to foreclose and take over the property. And lo and behold, miracle happens, and out of the cornfield come walking all these people from the distant past in Major League Baseball, from the Black Sox, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other people. And in there also his father. His father comes out, his father plays a part in this, and his father's there, and these people come, and they come out and they practice on the field. And in the beginning, Kevin Costner is the only one who can see them. And then slowly his young daughter and his wife can see them, and they come out every night to play and practice, and then they cannot cross over the foul lines. They can't come past the chalk lines of the baseball field. And every night they come out and practice, and every night they go back into the cornfield. Until one day, one of these evenings, his father says to them, we're getting tired of just practicing. We want to play a game. And so Kevin Costner sets up a game. And he sets up this game, and it's going to be on a particular date. And they start to make preparations. They have hot dogs and food for people. They put some ads out for people to come to the game. And lo and behold, people come from all over and they buy tickets and they come to watch the game. And he raises enough money to save the farm. And there are some other spiritual experiences that happen along the way. Why am I using this analogy? Well, it seems to be that in Jerusalem, there's a movement to rebuild Solomon's temple. And the thought there is that if they build it, he will come. And the he that they're talking about here is the Messiah. They believe that if they recreate Solomon's original temple in the place where it was built before, that the Messiah will come and God will come and want to be at home in Solomon's temple. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's the thought process. But for us, for each of us, what we need to do is we need to build this temple inside ourselves. We already have divinity there. We just have to awaken to it. And why do we want to do this? Because all of our other problems and issues and stresses about making money and being tied to this form of slavery that we all call reality will have less pull on us. It will be easier to manage and maintain. You will rise above it. You will be in control in a way that you've never been before. Will this really happen? Yes, I believe it will. There are people who are self-actualized, if you like that term better. If you're familiar with Abraham Maslow and Maslow's hierarchy, the highest part of Maslow's 7-step hierarchy is actualization. And the actualized person accomplishes more by doing less. An actualized person for Maslow is someone who's discovered his divinity, who's discovered again his personal power, who's awakened to the fact that he is a powerful being and can do anything that he or she wants to do. It doesn't matter if you're reading Abraham Maslow or Gurdjieff or anyone else in philosophy or religious studies. If you read Plato, and I used Plato's allegory of the cave once before, Plato's Republic. In Plato's Republic, he has divisions of how society should be constructed, very much like the pyramid that Abraham Maslow created, where there are a lot of people at the lower rung, and as you move up toward the top to the actualization, it becomes fewer and fewer. The same is true in Plato's Republic. Picture a pyramid again with a lot of people at the lower levels and moving on up. And when you get to the top, the ruling person or persons, it could be more than one, are called philosopher kings. And all along the way up the ladder, people have greater economic advantage. They have more creature comforts, if you will, just like in any caste-driven society. Such is the case where you have more financial capabilities, more power to influence others, more power to influence the way things are done. And when you get to the top, in Plato's Republic, to the philosopher king, he's living like a migrant, living in one room with few possessions, with tattered clothes, eating a bowl of rice and vegetables. Why? Because he's already attained all the knowledge and personal power. He can make anything happen. He can have anything that he wants, and his wants are few because he realizes that they are just like the parlor game that I talked to you about before. The higher up you move in your own awakening, in your own power, in your own divinity, you're going to want less and less. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't live a good and beneficial life. You shouldn't take care of your family and be able to contribute to society and help others and have charitable contributions. You should do all those things, but you should not make them the aim of your life. The aim of your life is to awaken to the divine and powerful person that you are, and to use that power and divinity to help others awaken to their power and divinity. Did you ever wonder why there's no real art in the 21st century? Yeah, I understand that people are painting and people are sculpting and people are writing books and people are composing music. I understand those things are happening. But where's the great works? Where are the great works of art? We go to museums today, whether it's in France or New York or Chicago or Boston or St. Petersburg or anywhere else in the world, and the museums are filled with works from artists of past times. Not a lot of contemporary art today that people are saying are masterpieces or that people are yearning after or learning lessons from or stimulating their ideas and their thoughts and their concepts. It's not happening. And when people, divine spark people, as we all are, when they are stifling that creativity turns into violence. We have plenty of wars. We have plenty of people killing other people. We have plenty of violence right here at home in our own country and everywhere else in the world. We have a lot of conflicts. These conflicts are from stifled creativity. It's not the only reason, but it's a major one. When we start seeing major art and major creativity emerging, that major creativity which is born from inside, from the divinity and empathy and compassion and love that we all have inside of us, we will find peace. Wars will cease. We will not be able to enter into violence that kills or harms other people. Think about these things. Think about why it's important to awaken. There are ways to do that. You need to find your own path. Everyone can find their own path, but you have to want to find your own path. You know, I do a lot of reading on my own. I read others. I take ideas and thoughts and concepts from a variety of places. You need to also expand your horizons. Don't think of yourself as one or two dimensional. Don't think about, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal. You know, all of these dualities that are out there, they are just ways to divide us. And it used to be, you've heard the term divide and conquer? No. It's divide and rule. And that's what's happening. And every time you go to one end or another, to one extreme or another, where you can't even hear the person with a differing opinion, where you get angry with them and you want to commit violence, you want to push them away, beat them over the head, shoot them through the heart, all those things are born of having a closed mind. And you're just being shaped and manipulated and handled. Awaken. come to a new reality. You'll find that your life will unfold in a completely different way. You know, what we get is what we earn, and what we give is what we live by. This is Edward Durante, and this is Life Perfect Square. You can find my full-length podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you subscribe here or leave me a message, I will respond. Thank you.